This is Omar for BoxNation in association with Global Next Trade, and it's getting very exciting in the UK in terms of a boxing perspective because we've got three brilliant shows that obviously have been announced. Are all on sale now, Frank, that are coming up that you're putting on with DAZN. So let's run through them. The first one, if we're going in order, is obviously Glasgow, and Nathaniel Collins has got a huge night for himself to sort of break out as a Scottish star, Frank.
He has. I mean, he's put in a couple of really good performances. Certainly, his last one was, and Scotland is begging for a big star right now. That's what they're doing, and I feel he can really fill that void. He can be the next big thing.
Yeah, of course. Look, in recent times, of course, you had Ricky Burns, then you more recently had Josh Taylor, who did a phenomenal job with Scottish boxing. But Nathaniel Collins is an all-out exciting fighter, provides knockouts as well. So the style's there. He's just got to deliver on this big stage in this European title fight now.
That's right. We go from strength to strength. If he comes through this, then we'll be looking down the line for him to get a world title shot. And we're looking to try and get that on in Scotland. There's definitely a market up there. It's a good market. There's some great young talent, young up and coming Scottish boxers on there. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. Willie Hutchinson's on there against Mark Jeffers, which is a cracking fight. We've got, Aston Brown in there again for the vacant title against, Dean Paul King, sorry. So, there's some good fights there and a lot of the youngsters. Young Alex Arthur. And we got Willie Le Mans boy. So, really good show.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all October 4th live on DAZN. Or if you're around in Glasgow, get yourself down there. Then we move on to a huge heavyweight night with Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley at the O2, Frank. This is one of the most important fights underneath sort of the, excluding title fights that I can remember in a long time in the heavyweight division.
Well, look, first of all, it is. Fabio, he's undefeated. He's coming off of a win where he was well behind on the cards, but showed what he's all about with that fantastic knockout against Hooney. And Joe Parker's on a roll too. He's the interim WBO interim champion. The winner of this will be, and Usyk will have to fight him or vacate the title. That is a fact. So this is a very, very important fight. It's an important fight for both of them. And both, with both of them, they really both of them fancy the fight, and it's one that I think you're going to get some excitement from because their styles will blend, and their styles are just come at each other. They're both coming off of sensational knockouts. You think about the Bicoli knockout from Joe, and you look at Fabio's knockout at Hooney. I mean, they were sensational knockouts. They're both big punches. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and I say it's the most important, excluding title fights, because when you look at what's at stake, which you've just told us about, the winner gets Usyk, or if he vacates, they get the belts. If you look at who's sort of in most form in the heavyweight division, if you take out Alexander Usyk, you'd say Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley are the most in form heavyweights in recent times.
Well, at that level they are, they certainly are at the level they're at. You can stick Moses in there and a few of the other guys in there, but they are in form and they work regularly, and they are what I say. They are exciting fighters. They're never in dull fights, either of them.
Look,
I mean, you look at Fabio's last two knockouts; they've been spectacular.
Yeah, they certainly have. Do you think as we get closer to fight week, that more people will start thinking, Fabio, start picking Fabio, because Joe obviously starts as a big favourite in this fight?
Well, he does, and quite rightly so. He's got the experience. He's a former world champion, but and I agree with it's not me saying it, it's what Fabio says. There's 36 minutes of action in the fight, and for him it only takes 1 second, and he's done that time and time again. 20 fights, 18 knockouts.
Well, if he produces a knockout against Joseph Parker, this becomes one of the most remarkable stories.
Well, it would be. Yeah, it would be. I mean, it would be. But Joe goes in as a favourite, and he's on a roll. But you know, he's a winning fighter. He's got a string of good wins. He had that loss against um, uh, Joe Joyce. So and he got caught in that fight. So he can be caught. That's why it's so. I think this is got that sort of bit of um, danger about it for both of them. I'm telling you, and I'm repeat myself. It only takes a second for either of them.
And going back to the O2 with this heavyweight fight as well, it's a phenomenal arena for boxing, Frank.
It's a great arena. It's a great card. That Louis Edmondson and Ezra Taylor for the British and Commonwealth title is a cracker of a fight. I mean, it's a cracker of a fight. I love that fight. And then we got Royston Barney Smith stepping up for the IBF and WBO European against Danny Quartermain. That again, he's undefeated. They're two undefeated fighters. Yeah. And a cracking undercard. I mean, they're good quality fights.
With those two fights you just mentioned on the undercard, both these guys, in terms of all four guys, are really trying to push on to that next level now. They're all Brits. Is this kind of, when you linked up with DAZN, was this a big focus as well? Obviously, it's a global platform, but to make sure those British cards, the undercards as well, are stacked with 50-50 all British fights?
No, I think we do that anyway. I mean, we've always done that. We've always delivered, when we can, good fights for our fighters. It comes to a time when we're building them, and we make a lot of matches early days in their favour, so they learn their trade, because that's what it's all about. You're a carpenter or a bricklayer. They're not going to throw you on the site straight away and say, right, that's it, go and build a house. You have to learn your craft and your trade, and it's the same with a boxer. And then you gradually look at moments and you start letting them off the leash, and it's time for these guys to move on to the next level if they're capable of doing it, and we'll find out.
I think you are letting Royston off the leash in this fight. It's fair to say.
Yeah, I think so. It's a tough fight. The fight was postponed, but he's training well now. He's in a good frame of mind, as I'm hearing Danny is as well.
Okay, should be an intriguing night, October 25th. And then it's relentless the week after. We're in Manchester for a brilliant all light heavyweight card.
It's a cracker of a card. Cracker of a card. Good fight card.
Well, the main event, look, Joshua Buatsi does go in as a big favourite. What would Zach Parker's case be in this fight, Frank?
Well, look, you've got to look at Zach. Both of them only lost one fight apiece. I think they had, they must have had about 40 odd fights between us, 41, 42 fights between us, and there's two losses, each a loss apiece. This is a fight that neither of them can afford to lose. Zach was doing really well. He came with us and he was on a roll, and I thought he would win a world title. He's obviously come up a weight now, but he had a problem with his hand. He had an injury. This is a big moment for him. And with Josh, he was in a cracker of a fight, weren't he, early in the year in Riyadh? I mean, that was a brilliant fight against Callum. And this now is the fight that, one of them again has got to win. I keep saying, somebody's going to, somebody needs this win badly, but they do need the win badly because it takes them on to the next level. And I think the winner of this fight will get involved in a world title fight, which those belts are all on the line in Riyadh in November, and something will give then. And, whoever comes through is going to have to fight against the mandatories. And one of these guys is going to wind up being a mandatory. This is a cracker of a fight. It's a quality fight.
Another quality fight is Brad Ray and Lyndon Arthur, all Manchester clash in Manchester. A lot at stake for both here. I mean, Brad Ray, this is a real big opportunity if he can beat someone who's been at the top of the game in Lyndon Arthur.
But this is the European titles on the line here. The winner of that in a couple of the organisations immediately goes into the top four of the ratings. So again, it's a massive step up for him. And the good thing about it, it's in Manchester, and it's a Manchester derby fight. Bragging rights in Manchester for the winner.
Certainly is. A fight that was recently announced because Lapin had to pull out his fight against Troy Jones was Liam Cameron and Troy Jones. Liam Cameron steps in. Another big British clash.
It is, and it's an intriguing fight. Liam showed what he was all about when he upset the odds, and he obviously he lost the return match. But he's again, for him, this is a big moment, and Troy fancies the job. So I think we've got a cracker again, a cracker of a fight. It's quite an evenly matched fight, although Liam's had more experience, but it is a really good quality match.
Okay. Well, that is all live on DAZN, those three shows. Tickets all on sale for those cards as well. I know, Frank, you're planning a huge night as well. That hasn't been announced, but you've said on record before December 13th, you're looking for a big show in Manchester. Derek Chisora has said publicly that he will be on that show. I know you're looking to get Moses out on that show as well. So it's going to be a big heavyweight night, I'm guessing, in Manchester on December 13th.
Well, we're going to announce it in due course. Obviously, no matches are made yet, so it's pointless me going into it. But there will be a big show in Manchester, and it will certainly Moses will be boxing it, and we're looking to see what we can do as far as Derek is concerned. So, but we'll announce it soon, and I'm sure everybody's going to be pleased with what we put together.
Okay. If you sort of take the last three shows that I mentioned there and you add December 13th, your first sort of year with DAZN, I know it started in April, so it's not a full year, but your first 8 months, if you like, how would you look back upon it?
I think it's great. I think we've delivered. I think we've delivered in every area and aspect. We put some good fight cards together. We're showing the depth of our and the quality of the boxers that are under the Queensberry umbrella, and we're making matches. We're making really good competitive fights for the fans and for the zone, their viewers around the world. This is a great time for us and for British boxing and world boxing. The zone is the home of boxing, and there's some, and there's some really great matches to be made up out of all these fights that we're doing. Make up next year. We're going to really hit the ground running in the new year with some fabulous fights.
Okay. Well, I think three key names involved in those fabulous fights will be three names I haven't mentioned yet on this interview. That includes Daniel Dubois, Hamza Sheeraz, and Nick Ball. So I know Daniel's suffering with an injury. So when you're looking to get him out, Frank?
We're looking to get him out probably sometime in January or February. Nick Ball will fight early in the new year.
But it won't be a new way.
I'd love that fight, but he's going to fight anyway in the new year, and then obviously Hamza, I'm hoping, will be the Canelo fight.
Oh, have there been any talks with that, with His Excellency, about that?
I'm not going to go into that, but I'm saying what I would like it to be. That's what we would like it to be.
Right, yeah, because I saw the WBC have reordered that draw we saw with Billy and Martinez. So if they go ahead with that, that rules out Billy really for Hamza next.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. Right, we'll keep tabs on that. Frank, just to go back to your October 25th show, obviously with Parker and Wardley, another card has been announced the same night, obviously on BBC, with Fraser Clark and Jamie TKV. What did you think when you saw it was on the same night?
I'm disappointed. I understand that they've got Boxer have got a four fight deal with BBC.
So I understand, 4 fights a year, yeah.
So you've got 48 weekends that you can put boxing on. BBC chose to put that on the same night as we're doing our show, which is a pay-per-view show, which is, I don't get it. Why would you want to be doing that? Now, I know we've had clashes in the past, but it's not like they weren't aware of our date. We announced our date ages and ages ago. So, I'm not happy with it. And I think because of what BBC are, which is a national broadcast, I think it's unfair competition as far as broadcasting is concerned and the platform. So I'm pleased boxing's on BBC. I'm not pleased that it's up against our show. It's a British title fight. We know what it is. I mean, but in Fabio, you've got the guy who's, as I said earlier on in the interview, had a spectacular knockout against Fraser Clark. Well, I like Fraser, good guy, had a spectacular knockout them, and you've got the guy that David Adelaide beat in TKV, TKD, whatever his name is, and so it's levels. It's all about levels, and as you started off saying in the interview, the Parker and Wardley fight totally different levels.
When you
but
say,
when you've got a platform that you can, and you've got dates, and you've got plenty of dates, and you've got, the different, they got BBC One, Two, Three, Four, and their streaming service. It just seems to me pretty stupid to be doing this. There's no fault for the fans, but hey, you know what it is. I mean, I think we've worked out. It's funny. It's taken all this time for most of the promoters to be under one umbrella, and it stops a lot of clashes. And there you go, the first time up there, 20 years since they've done anything in boxing, and they come back and do this. A bit stupid.
When you say it's unfair competition, Frank, just go into a little bit. Obviously, you mean BBC is obviously a huge platform, so
because of the huge platform they've got, and which it's a big platform, but you don't. They wouldn't do that with a football match, would they? Or a rugby match? They just wouldn't do it. So it's boxing's like considered to be a bastard sport, and do what you like with them. We'll fit them in and sort it out however we like. They don't care. But I'm gonna, we'll see what happens.
okay. Do you expect the main event times to run at different times, though? Do you think theirs will be early on BBC?
I've got no idea. I don't know what their schedules are and how they're doing it. But it's not the point. That's not the point. There's no need for it. No need for it. I thought we got past all that with, as I say, with us all now working to make sure the dates don't clash.
Okay. Well, let's see what the other 3 dates land on within the year.
Well, the only thing about it, it's only, if we have these conversations about their shows, it's only going to be, another 3 times a year.
Okay. Just the last one, Frank, please. Eddie Hearn has said he's going to take legal action due to some of the comments that Chris Eubank Jr. made, specifically about the ambulance being trapped in within Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for 20 minutes. Thoughts?
Thoughts? I think Chris Eubank Jr. needs to settle with him as soon as possible, because he ain't going to win that. That's for sure. It's just stupid. I don't know what, I don't understand what why he would even say that. What he said, it's just ridiculous. Let me just tell you, when we book a venue, all of us promoters, whoever you are, you book a venue, certainly something like Spurs, a usual venue. What the promoter is responsible is the same as like when you have a band on there or any other event. We're responsible for what we call backstage security. So for us, that's anything in a dressing room or area, or anything immediately inside that ring area. Everything else outside is the responsibility of the venue. So to say that Eddie, or anybody for that matter, stops access is ridiculous. And what I don't understand with him, they keep bleating. I mean, Shalom's as bad when he says he was forced to sign a contract at the last minute regarding this weight clause. No one forces anyone to sign a contract. That's your choice. You either can make the weight or you can't make the weight. It's as simple as that. If you can't make the weight, don't sign it. If you're in hospital for 2 nights and losing toenails and whatever it is, you knew what you was going into. No one forced you to do this. This was your choice. It's what you chose to do. I mean, it's not like nobody from the beginning said this is nuts in some ways that, regarding these weight things, but they choose to do it. That's their choice. And he's carrying on and doing it again. So that's down to him. But the nonsense about ambulances and all this, it's just a no-brainer. That's just the most ridiculous and stupid thing I've heard.
So just to clarify, are you saying the club, as in Tottenham, the premises have jurisdiction over the ambulances?
Yeah, because they have he said he locked the doors, didn't he, or something? Locked the keys?
Essentially, yeah.
Well, what are they giving Eddie the keys to the doors of Tottenham? I mean, do me a favour. It's just fucking stupid, beyond stupid. It's just ridiculous. What is he lying on the floor in front of the ambulance, or stand in front, stopping it? Honestly, I mean, anybody with half a brain would know that. But yeah, it is what it is. It's got, I've got to tell you that I sit here as an old geezer, listening to some of these people and some of the things that said, and I just don't. It just astounds me what he said about Robert Smith. It's seriously libelous. Seriously libelous. Seriously libelous. And it's not good. And actually, it's not good for boxing. What he's been. So he's basically saying the border control crooked. That's what he said. That's the interpretation of it. and what they do with monies and everything. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Okay, well,
But
talking.
that's their business. It's not. I didn't mind. You know, you've asked me. I mean, I got to be honest. I couldn't give it. What he says is just ridiculous. It's just unfortunately for boxing, it's it's not good. And sometimes you've got to be accountable for what you say.
We're talking about Ben and Eubank. It's reminding me actually a fight was announced. The whole card was announced yesterday, but specifically with your guy Catterall-Essuman in against Jack Catterall on the undercard. It's a
Good
brilliant
fight.
fight, that, Frank, and it's Queensberry v Matchroom.
Yeah, it's a good fight. I like that. You know, it is a good fight. And Echo's done everything that's been asked of him. So I'm looking forward to that one. It's a very good fight.
Sure.
Very good fight.
Frank, is there anything you'd like to add to the fans before we leave this?
No, just that we're putting together these great shows. As I said, there's some fabulous shows. There's also that good night. I mean, it's going to be a good night at Tottenham. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be some good fights there, and it's a good fight, good show. Great. It's going to be a spectacular event, and many more to come. Many more to come. Boxing's flying. It's on a high. It's on a high, and British boxing is absolutely top of the game.
A good night at Tottenham. I never thought I'd hear you say those words.
Well, I have been there a few good nights when my team have kicked their ass.
On that note, we'll end there, Frank. Thank you very much for your time and have a good weekend.
And you, my son. God bless.